o'clock, and I'm going to ask if we stand for invocation. And Pastor Dion, would you mind giving us the invocation this morning?
Good morning. I'm Reverend Dion Hall from Grace United Methodist Church, and I offer this invocation on behalf of our Hagerstown Area Religious Council. Let us be in an attitude of meditation. Spirit of creation, we come before you this day to offer our time and our services on behalf of the people of Washington County. We are thankful for all of our elected representatives. We are thankful for those who have gathered here today to express their concerns, and we are thankful for the persons that we represent. We come here today as a blessing and as a way in which to serve the people of this great county. We thank you for this opportunity. We ask a blessing on each and every person here, and we ask a blessing on those who have come to represent their concerns. May they be heard with grace, and as they offer their concerns, may they be grace-filled as well. We offer this prayer, this meditation, this call to action in the name of the Creator. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good morning again, and with that, I'm going to officially call our meeting to order, and the first item up is approval of the minutes for January the 28th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
4-0, thank you. Commissioners' reports and comments. Randy, you want to go first?
Hey, good morning. Glad to see such a big crowd here this morning. Just a couple things to report. I wanted to congratulate Hagerstown and their fine efforts for the creating an grand opening and ribbon cutting of the Hagerstown Field House, where the old stadium was at. It's quite a facility. If you get a chance, stop by. They have memberships, they have gyms, they have courts everywhere, so it's a pretty nice building. Congratulate everybody at Smithburg Fire at the fire banquet for the awards they received, and thanks Smithburg for doing a wonderful job in our community. And thank the Parks and Rec Department, HCC. At HCC, the Parks and Rec wound down their volleyball season, girls volleyball, and we were able to attend and give some awards for the winning teams. And it's a great program, and that's why we have so many state championships. I think that's the beginning of their journey for volleyball for the ladies. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, President Barr. Just a couple of quick things. First, given that a number of fees and costs have been being passed down to the county, as well as our residents here by the budget demands within the state, I would like to have our staff explore a couple of things. One is, could we look at how we might be able to adjust or have a tax credit for senior property tax? I'd like the staff to explore, the options, costs, and opportunities for maybe 2 or 3 possibilities. One would be a freeze on the property tax dollar amount you pay when you hit either 65 or 70 years old going forward. That would be a freeze on the dollar amount that you pay, even if the assessments go up, and by formula, your tax should be going up also. Even though it's much less, it's capped at like 6% a year if you combine the county portion with the state portion. And the second thing dealing with that is from a methodological perspective, we might want to look at linking that to the senior discount that we already have as a way of quickly identifying people that are in the senior category and are qualified for that senior discount. I think it might be tied to income, but it's something I'd like to explore. And we can't make any decisions until we understand the costs and the implications of that for the overall budget, but that's part one. And part two is I would like to see what the costs would be if we were to do something like have two different numbers, a 10% reduction for those that are on the senior discount already, that their tax gets reduced by 10%, and also at 25%. I'd just like to see what those costs are so that we can consider options we might have in balancing different income flows and outflows to see if we might be able to do something for people that are challenged that are on a fixed income. That's part one. So if staff could do that, Michelle?
Yes, we can pull that information.
Appreciate that, and then just report back to us, and it gives us and the public an idea of what those costs might be. The second thing I'd just like to mention is, we've had some back and forth on the time during citizens' comments, and I think you're going to address that later. But, we did get off the rails by allowing people to go beyond 3 minutes. And whether it was good intentions or bad intentions, when some people speak for 8 or 9 minutes because we were more interested in that information because maybe they were providing something new and of value and it was pertinent to what we were going to be hearing that day, then we did allow them to speak longer. But that is a violation of maintaining balance and avoiding viewpoint discrimination. So we're going to hold to the 3 minutes, right, Mr. Barr, going forward, and you're the man with the gavel, and so that's going to be important. But there are lots of ways of contacting us. When we broadcast this on Facebook, we do look at the comments that are underneath. So if someone wants to make a comment, it's great, because I look at it. Sometimes it's not pleasant, but it's good. If you call and you don't get us, if you leave a voicemail, everyone should know that the voicemails are transcribed and an email sent to us directly. So we do get that. And I try to respond to every one of those. Likewise, when I get an email, I do try to respond too. Then we do get letters, and we do have public hearings, we do have meetings, and we are out and about quite a bit. Lastly, this information is posted on our webpage, and it should be posted before the Facebook recording when it's on there online and afterwards. So I think, there are plenty of opportunities. I hear a lot from a lot of people. So I just want to say we're not trying to avoid input. We're just trying to regularize it a little bit better and make sure it's balanced. I get, this month alone, I've had 65 text messages from one individual who's worried about a zoning issue, and he's not pleased with the rules of the game, and the rules of the game are what they are. Sometimes we can't satisfy them, but we get those inputs all the time, and all of us do, okay? So those are the only two substantive things that I have. I want to just make a comment real quick. I've talked to the D&I committee chairman. I am going to have to step out for about 25 or 30 minutes for a phone call that I have no control over, but it's very important. And it may overlap with, the time of that presentation. But we'll see how the schedule goes. So I just want to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey. Commissioner Klein?
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to report that I did attend the Smithsburg Volunteer Fire Company banquet, the Long Meadow Volunteer Fire Company banquet, and Community Rescue's 70th Anniversary Awards banquet. And just want to thank each and every one of those companies for the work that they do for our citizens. I also attended the Washington County Chamber meeting at the ballpark the other night, and the ballpark announced all kinds of new and exciting programs and events coming up for the upcoming ball season. I also attended an Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Ryan Darr out of Leitersburg, Troop 108. It's always good to go to an Eagle Scout Court of Honor. Again, congratulations to our rec department for the girls volleyball rec program that they had all year. The Stingrays won the elementary division last Saturday, so congratulations to them and their team. And Richie Rations up at Fort Ritchie opened up a business selling fruit and produce and everything to the community up there. Another nice addition. Fort Ritchie continues to add businesses. And one of the things I want to bring up today, I think we all received an email from Debbie Cohill in Hancock that the emergency shelter designation up there is Martha's House, and they are saying they need some repairs for stabilization. So I'd like to get a consensus for the commissioners to move forward with that, and staff go up and review it and look for the proper funding mechanism. It is our emergency shelter in that end of the county, and I think it's important to have that building ready. So if everybody be okay with a consensus, not a vote?
Absolutely.
Okay, Michelle, could you add to that?
Yes, staff will take a look at it to see what funding sources are available, whether it's grant funding or CIP funding, and we'll bring it back to you later for a formal vote.
All right, thank you. That concludes my, go ahead.
Can I add to that? I reached out to Deb Cohill earlier this morning. I noticed in one of the emails, there's an estimate for repairs, but there was only one estimate. So is that subject to our purchasing arrangements where there has to be multiple submissions? And
I think it would depend on the funding source, so I'll have to review that with staff.
okay. In other words, if we're going to pay for it, or
They
help
may need
with
to
it,
get more than
it may
one quote.
require
Yeah,
a deeper dive into what's going on there.
yeah, and I'm sure she'll be amenable to
Yeah.
that.
So,
Yeah, and
I'm
that's the
sure.
reason to have staff to do that review. Thank you. That
Okay,
concludes
thank
my
you.
report.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. For me, yes, it's been a very busy several weeks. As you know, we're in just about, I guess, the midway point of our 90-day legislative session in Annapolis. Our legislators are hard at it, and some days I have to question whether it's maybe they're not trying too hard. Sitting on the Maryland Association of County Board of Directors and attending the weekly legislative meetings and subcommittee meetings, it's been kind of mind-boggling. I've never, and I think I said this last year, I've never seen so many bills, about 2,500 to date, that MACO is reviewing, analyzing, and not saying, gee, you know, the only way we can support this is with amendments. MACO's coming back and saying, are you out of your mind? Have you lost it? This is a bad bill. No. And so it's quite concerning, and I can imagine our local delegations got their hands full and keep them in our thoughts and in constant communications. Again, I'm down there weekly. Michelle Gordon and I traveled to Annapolis again yesterday and testified on behalf of maintaining our funding for phase 2 of I-81, and we're, you know, I guess you could say we're almost at the trough begging weekly. So we continue to do our part. So stay tuned. Hopefully we're successful and we get things that, you know, come to Washington County and get our fair share, if you will. So with that, I'll move from commissioners' comments and reports to staff comments. And first up is Kelsey Cadle. Is Kelsey, I didn't see. Yeah, there she is.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kelsey Cadle, Agricultural Business Specialist with the Department of Business and Economic Development. I'm here today to give you an update on our Agriculture Innovation Equipment Grant. This was the second year administering the Agriculture Innovation Equipment Grant, with 23 applications and 5 recipients awarded a total of $100,000. This year, the funded projects include a mobile poultry processing unit for both the personal farm use and community rentals, a compostable mulch bed layer to improve efficiency, and the construction of a cold storage area and floral design studio to meet growing demand of the flower business. A tractor and spade enabling earlier planting of spring vegetables for community CSA boxes, the introduction of smaller packaged spirits and premixed beverages to address rental placement challenges and meet customer demand, and a bottling system for herbal lemonade that offers user-friendly twist cap options, allowing for entry into the wholesale ready-to-drink market. This grant helps support local Washington County farms by providing funds to purchase innovative equipment, increasing production and overall farm success. As we prepare to administer the final round of this original 3-year grant, the positive impact it's had on our farms and local economy is evident. I'll be coming before the board at a later time to request an extension of this grant to ensure continued support of our farms and continued growth for our local economy.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, Kelsey. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Next up, Jill Baker. Good morning, Jill.
Morning, Commissioners. Jill Baker, Director of the Department of Planning and Zoning. I am here this morning for 2 letters of support that have been requested for a couple different grants. The first is to support Preservation Maryland. They have a request, they've requested a letter of support from Washington County to join a collective of other certified local government agencies so that they can pool funds that are distributed to each of our programs for the purpose of holding training sessions for members of our Historic Advisory Committee and other interested parties. By pooling these funds, it will centralize administrative duties to one organization for a more efficient process that will further stretch our funding dollars. Preservation Maryland is attempting to pool funds equaling $20,000 to host 4 one-day workshops that would allow up to 12 participants each day. Staff supports this request.
We just need a consensus.
Consensus? I see Ed's
Consensus, I'm
nodding.
okay with it.
Yep,
Yeah, I'm good.
we're good.
Thank you, Commissioners. My second request comes from the Washington County Historical Trust. They are requesting a letter of support to include in their grant application for a Maryland Heritage Areas Authority grant. The application is a request for grant funding to complete the renovation of the Sailor House located in Kiwanis Park off of Dynasty Drive. There has been significant progress in the restoration, but it has been slow due to limited funding. The goal of the request is to complete full restoration of the structure, hopefully in time for the county's 250th anniversary celebrations. Staff would support this request.
Consensus?
I'm okay.
We just need another consensus.
Okay with me.
Good? Yep, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. County Administrator, Ms. Gordon.
Thank you. I have attended several MACO and delegation legislative meetings over the last couple of weeks. I did take a tour of the Boys and Girls Club with their new facility. It's progressing very well. It's progressing quickly. I'm really excited for the community so that they'll have this available for the youth in the area. I did testify in Annapolis twice on 2 different issues impacting our community, one related to annexation practices and the other related to advocating for funding for Interstate 81 Phase 2. I also attended the annual Weed Control Advisory Board meeting, and I have one letter of support that I need consensus for. It's from the Maryland Theater. They are applying for a Heritage Area Grant, and this letter will support funding for their Houdini Room restoration project at the historic Maryland Theater. This project is the last remaining room that has been untouched since the fire in the 1970s. The room will be shown to the general public during complimentary venue tours and tours of our historic landmark. They're not asking for any funding from the county. I just need a consensus.
Motion.
Okay?
Okay, good.
And that's everything that I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I did overlook once again the upcoming events. Grand opening, Black Diamond Realty, 38 South Potomac Street, tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. The Chamber's 2025 Business Awards, Maryland Theater, South Potomac Street, is also tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. That's always a very special event. Washington County Home Builders Home Show starts this weekend, March 1st and 2nd, Saturday and Sunday, and those times will be listed. And also the State of the City event will be held next Tuesday morning at the Maryland Theater, and that is a chamber function, and it starts at 6:30 a.m. So with that, let me,
Can we take a quick recess until 9:30?
okay,
Okay.
so be it. Okay. We'll
Thank you.
start citizens' participation right at 9:30. Okay. By my watch, it is now 9:30. The next item on the agenda is citizens' participation, and please follow me closely on this because there are some new rules of engagement that we are setting up for citizens' participation. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment about an issue or issues of county practices and interests. This is not an interactive dialogue or question and answer session. It is solely a time to hear citizens' comments. Citizens' participation is scheduled on the agenda for a total of 10 minutes. Please, and I'm going to say this again, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes or less, and I will strictly enforce this time limit. Lastly, please state your name and address for the record. And I understand sometimes the address is strictly where you go to school or where you work. Is that correct? Okay. So with that, can I see I know we got quite a crowd here today. I'd like to see a show of hands who wants to speak today. And already we've got more than 10 minutes will allow. So I'm going to go with Beth Harvey first.
Beth Harvey, Smithsburg, Maryland.
Good morning, Karen Hayes, Hagerstown, Maryland. The Washington County Commission of Women met in January and reviewed ongoing initiatives, discussed advocacy efforts and upcoming events celebrating women, several of which are to be held in March throughout Washington County in honor of Women's Month. Commissioner member Gwen Leatherman is leading a panel at prime time for Women's second annual International Women's Day event, which we highly recommend attending.
The commission is very grateful for your consideration that allowed us to partner with TEDx Hagerstown Women for a third straight year. The TEDx event was held in December at Hagerstown Community College. The event scored 96% in an audience feedback survey and was described as a terrific event, well-organized with an excellent selection of speakers, and we wanted to read a few responses from attendees. The event was fantastic. I had the opportunity to connect with women in this community and learn all about the wonderful things they're doing. The speaker's words were so touching. I laughed, I cried, and most importantly, I learned to think of myself and other women differently. I felt encouraged and motivated to create positive changes in my life and my community. Second, it's an empowering event that highlights the achievement of women. I learn at each one I attend. I love this. This is my second year attending. The love, caring, and support is amazing. I can't wait for next year. So good. The ideas that were shared by local women can be viewed at tedxhagerstownwomen.com. The scheduled meeting for February was sadly canceled due to inclement weather, but the commission is looking forward to hosting Washington County Department of Social Services on April 9th to present an overview of adult, child, and family services.
The commission will be before you again on April 29th to present an annual update. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I saw a number of hands, but there's a young man who is a student at Barbara Ingram School, and I'd like to ask David to come up next. We need to get you back into school today. Dr. Savine's right behind you, so he'll make sure of that.
Well, good morning, you all. I am David Mondroy from Barbara Ingram School for the Arts. Today I'm here to talk about the American Youth Association. We started out in May in the Maryland State Branch. It is a national thing going on across the country. Our goal is to empower youth to work together alongside with our politics and our politicians to make a difference in our state and our country. I am so sorry, I forgot to turn that thing on. AYA matters because it helps youth in various areas to come together and discuss ways to bridge the gap between youth and the government. AYA helps your voice their concerns for their community and what's happening around them. AYA will provide workshops that discuss legislation and different things happen in the world. AYA is also a way for youth to know what's happening throughout our country and our state. For instance, yesterday we had a meeting in Annapolis, Maryland, where we got to meet the president of the House of Representatives, and we had to talk policy. We're sponsoring a lot of the bills, and we're having, what's it called? Sorry. We're having testimonies that we're making that will support the bills. One of our bills that we're seeking support is Youth 16, which will allow people like me to have voice in our local elections and to be represented as well. I am clearly seeking your help, and if we could come together to work in a future event, that would be very nice of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for all you're accomplishing. This young man's quite a singer. So if you ever get the opportunity to attend a Barbaringer event when David's got a voice over, it's well worth your time. I can assure you. Thank you. Okay, other hands? Yes, sir.
Thank you. I will be very brief. My name is Eric Schwartz at 16 East Salisbury Street, Williamsport. I'm here to express my support for the diversity and inclusion programs at the public schools. As I understand it, the current budget allocation could threaten the continuance of the Office of Equity and Inclusion, Equity and Excellence, excuse me. And I think this would be a big mistake. I think we need more attention to diversity, not less. The issue has not receded in importance. If anything, it is growing. And I urge the Commission's continued support of DEI efforts in the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Who's next? I know there was a few other hands.
Hello, my name is Curtis Ray. I live at 17918 College Road, Hagerstown, Maryland. The topic I'll have for today is about the pension. Currently, you have to look at the pension values between 2012 to 2025. If you look at the amount that the county was paying compared to the employees, in 2012, the county paid $2.5 million to the employees' ratio of $1.8 million. And it follows a trend, a very skewed trend, where in 2013 we paid $4 million, where the employees paid $1.8. And then in 2015, I don't have 2014 because the audit document is not up on the Washington County site for some reason. But for 2015, it was 6.7 to 1.8 million. And then 2016, 6.6 to 1.8. 2017, 7 million to 1.95 million. 2018, 10 million to 2.1 million. And if you keep following this trend, all the way to 2024, the county, which is the taxpayer here, is paying a $20.3 million ratio to $3.2 million compared to the employee. So that means for every dollar that the employee of Washington County puts in towards the pension, the taxpayer is paying almost $7. I think that's pretty absurd, personally. And then another big hiccup we had, in 2021, we had investment firms investing our money in Chinese markets, and that was exact words, and they ended up losing about $32 million out of the pension. No one talked about that. No one brought that up. But because of that, it is now, you made it in the contract with the investment firm that they're no longer allowed to invest in the Chinese markets, which I don't understand why they were allowed to invest in it to begin with. But I would say this, I believe we can formulate a plan to get rid of the pension while paying back every dollar that the employees have paid into it. We could pay them back 2 times the amount that they paid into it for the last 30 years and still have money left over to pay the remaining beneficiaries of the pension for 10 years without putting another dollar into it. And then we can actually do a 401k matching to the government employees up to a 1-to-1 ratio up to 6%. I think that is a standard retirement plan, because if you look, in 2012, the pension was about 0.5% of the expenditure, and now in 2024, it's up to 6%. At that amount of growth, it's unsustainable. Eventually, we're going to end up collapsing in on the pension. And that is going to happen in about 12 to 15 years, where it could end up about 20%. But with that,
I see a hand pop up in the back. Stephanie?
It's 9:40.
Okay, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cease.
You have to let everybody talk. If you let 4 people talk, let the rest of us have a voice, John. What are you afraid of? The fact that I'm going to talk about Randy Wagner cheating on his wife and then hiring his mistress to work in planning and zoning? The fact that
Out of order.
You're out of order. I'm not going to continue to tolerate this.
That is not why we are here. We showed up today to talk about issues within our community, and that's what we're sticking to.
I can send my comments in email.
Please.
Let's move forward.
Okay, consensus to move forward?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move forward with our agenda. At this time, Diversity and Inclusion Committee report, please come forward.
Have the slides? Okay, we have.
Yes, it's up.
All right, good morning. My name is Terrence Goa. I'm chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and thank you for having us here. With me here, I have
Fatima Sakaria, member of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee.
And Zani Miller-Matima, also a member of the committee.
So we're here today to present our annual report, just to brief the commissioners of our work over the past year, and so the public understands exactly what we've been doing. I want to start first with our mission, and I just want to highlight what our charge is. We serve as an advisory board to the commissioners. We don't have any decision-making power. We serve as a bridge between the commissioners and the residents of Washington County who may be unseen or unheard. Right. So just to lay the groundwork for what our report looks like, we dug up the demographic data for the county from 2010 to 2020. And you can tell from the numbers that our county is becoming more diverse. And there's also anecdotal data to show that in the last 15 years it's even become more diversified than what we have up there. We requested from the county just to look at a gender and ethnic makeup of county government. And when you look at the numbers, it leans more male than female, whatever we make up that data, but we thought it's important that these numbers are made public to you, which I think you're already aware, but that the public also knows about them. And then from an ethnicity breakdown, the numbers I cannot cut there, but 92% of the workforce in the county government is white, and about 6% is black, and the rest of it is split between American Indian, Asian, and Latino. In terms of what we've accomplished since the last time we were here in December of 2023, we now have a fully appointed board, fully appointed committee. We meet on a regular basis. And I want to use this opportunity to thank Dawn Marcus for all the work that she's been doing with us. You know, you work really hard, sending us reminders and making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Our liaison, Mr. Barr, you know, I know you're passing over the baton to Commissioner Harvey, but when you're able to, even with poor health, you're able to come, so I really appreciate that. Yeah. We've increased our community outreach, you know, going out to the community to listen to what their concerns are with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We attend community events when we're able to. You know, we set up tables and, you know, just make our presence felt. And what we found is that a lot of community members are not even aware that this committee is available and they can speak to. Some of the challenges we've faced are that we found a conflation of progressive national issues with the committee's mission. What we are doing here is peculiar to Washington County. And I just want to say for, you know, transparency purposes that we've even come under attack, verbal attack, as promoting policies that I would say imaginary, right? We've heard things like we're promoting the use of pornography, you know, students in schools. I don't know, you know, Dr. Sovine is here, and I don't recall there's anything like that in the curriculum. So, but, you know, it's a challenging terrain to be in, and, you know, folk coming with their own agendas, which clearly have nothing to do with Washington County. We found attendance at the listening to us to be a little irregular, but, you know, we are stepping up our efforts to publicize our listening to us so that we can have, you know, more attendance. And then there's a variation in public opinion at this listening to us. You know, while there are folks who think that we need to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, there are others who think that, well, Washington County doesn't need that. And we find that to be disingenuous for a population that is increasingly diverse. And, you know, there's also a narrative that the Washington County is intolerant to people of color. And so we have those diverse views, and we will be making recommendations to the county commissioners on how you process these, you know, variations in public opinion. So our recommendations are that we include equity in our mission statement. So instead of just having a diversity and inclusion committee, that we have a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee. And I use these three terms intentionally so that, because, you know, DEI has become a buzzword on the national stage. And we want that in our county, we are focused on the three words and what that actually means for our county, and not what others, what the national rhetoric is, you know, which look at the demographics and say, okay, what does diversity and inclusion look like? Diversity, equity, and inclusion look like for Washington County. We are also recommending that we administer a community survey. Hopefully we can work with Michelle to have the tools to administer an electronic survey just to capture you know, the public's opinions on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We would like to have more visibility and presence in the community, not just by the committee, but by the county commissioners. It's good that you hear some of what people think in the community, you know, going to events that may not really be popular, but, you know, just go out there, you know, you sign up for this, right? And whatever you hear, you can then use it in your community meetings to improve on how our communities look like. The community is very diverse, so we can leverage the cultural diversity of all cultural groups in the county. Hopefully we can capture that data from the survey that we are recommending. We're also recommending competency training for county government at all levels. Hopefully it's something that the Director of Human Resources can work on. And obviously, the promotion of ethnic festivals. That's something that falls on us, just making sure that we have the resources to promote ethnic festivals. For FY 2025, we plan to solicit more community input. We would like to work with the commissioners to eliminate hate and hate speech in our communities, and just seeking common ground among all county demographic groups. We just put a slide here, just to highlight the beauty and richness that difference brings to our county. I'm just going to zoom through the other slides. It's not just a diversity of demographics, but in terms of the services that Washington County offers, there's a lot in terms of science and technology, manufacturing, transportation and logistics, and obviously places of worship. Also want to highlight that, we have a huge presence of members of the LGBTQ community in Washington County, and we want to make sure that they feel a sense of belonging in Washington County. So with that, we open to any questions that you have.
We thank you. We are on a very tight schedule here today, and we run till late this afternoon, and so I asked you to keep it brief, and we need to move on to our 10:50 agenda item.
I just want to say, as the former chair of the Washington County Committee of Diversity and Inclusion, I want to thank all of you for the support that you have given us to this point. It was an opportunity. It was given, and you allowed it to happen. I just want to thank you for that and hope that we will continue in good faith with each other.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
As far as I'm concerned, I am a new resident of Washington County, and I want to emphasize how it is a beautiful place to live. It has great opportunities and potential for employment, for recreation, and we need to be welcoming to those who are coming and moving to our county, which we believe tend to be more diverse than what has traditionally been the composition of the county. And it behooves all of us to act in a way that is welcoming, and hope that industry and technology, as we showed, which we want to draw to the county. I'm sure every member of the board here is interested in doing that and making sure that our county is a vibrant place, that you need to be welcoming to all groups in society, because talent is everywhere and not in just one group.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Again, we appreciate all you do. I know you meet faithfully every month and being involved in the community, and we thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And they're here for the next
Okay,
agenda item
yes.
as well.
Next item is Black History Month proclamation. And do we have a video or just any remarks?
Just have a proclamation.
I have the proclamation. Any
Meet up there.
comments? You want to come forward? I'll present the Black History Month, February 2025. This together. On behalf of my fellow commissioners, it's my honor to present this proclamation, Black History Month, February 2025. Whereas President Gerald Ford established Black History Month in 1976, he stated that it was to celebrate the often neglected accomplishments of African Americans throughout the country's history. Whereas February was specifically chosen for various reasons, one being that Carter Goodwin Woodson wanted to pay tribute to two great men, Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, both born in Frederick, Maryland. And whereas these men changed the future of blacks in America and brought about several reforms to give blacks equal status as their white counterparts. And whereas the story of the African-American experience in Maryland includes the life and accomplishments of Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman's Underground Railroad and Byway, Thurgood Marshall, one of the century's foremost leaders in the struggle for equal rights. Now therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners, Washington County, Maryland, hereby recognize the month of February as Black History Month. And with this recognition, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And signed this 25th day of February. I was trying to hang on. Everybody look at Kate.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Let's take one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying to bring these guys up.
Thank you.
Next item is the FY25 budget adjustments to the Washington County Board of Education's general fund budget. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Commissioners. Jeff Prue, Chief Operating Officer, Washington County Public Schools.
Eric Sisler, Executive Director of Finance for Washington County Public Schools.
This matter, Commissioners, is a budget adjustment for the Washington County Board of Education's FY25 general fund budget. This is reviewed by the Board of Education's Finance Committee and approved at its February 18th, 2025 meeting by the full Board of Education. These items and these adjustments cross major categories, and as I tell you every time we come, of course, those adjustments are required to be presented and approved by the County Commissioners under the Annotated Code of Maryland. We're happy to answer any questions you have on the adjustments that have been presented.
Any questions, any comments?
Net effect is 0, correct?
Net effect is 0, correct.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor by saying aye. 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 4-0. Thank you.
Commissioners.
Next item is presentation and discussion of the Board of Education's draft. I'll say that again, draft FY 2026 general fund budget for Washington County Public Schools. Morning, Dr. Savine.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, John.
In the fiscal year of 2024, Maryland state debt stood at about $32.5 billion. That's almost 3 times what it was in 2000. And yet we continue to spend. We've invited you to join us to collaborate to reduce duplication of services and still provide our students with an education that prepares them to be purposeful in their lives. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us next month. Today, however, we present our budget. Blueprint is becoming an unfunded mandate, and the state is tasking you with the challenge of picking up the shortfall. However, we are not requesting money beyond what is allowable by law. Last year, we cut $7 million, eliminating teachers, tutors, elementary ABLE, our OPED liability, highly effective teacher apprentice program. Our cuts this year, despite increasing enrollment, a doubled multilingual population, rising special ed, and mental health needs are deeper and require a heavier lift. I know each of you, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you want what is best for our students and understand that our future is in school today. My prayer for you each morning comes from Isaiah. Whether you turn to the right or the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, This is the way. Walk in it. Thank you for giving us this time to present our budget and field any questions that you might have. Dr. Savine?
Thank you, President Zentmeyer. Appreciate you setting the stage for our presentation. I extend my appreciation to you as well as Vice President Gesford for your leadership. Good morning, President Barr, members of the Board of County Commissioners, Mrs. Gordon. I'm Dave Savine, Superintendent of Schools. And I just want to mention that since the first of this year, our board has met 4 different times to focus and discuss the FY26 budget. Our Board of Education adopted my recommended budget just last week on February the 18th. And as I mentioned last year in this process, in my initial recommended budget and now the board's budget represents Washington County's contribution as the amount required by law, and WCPS is not requesting anything above that requirement. First, want to briefly walk you through some of the establishing information we shared with our Board of Education in our 4 different work sessions. Over the last school year, we saw about a 1% increase in student enrollment. So you see reflected in this slide, that's 207 more students. While that figure increased, we are seeing student needs increasing even more. For example, over the last year, 221 students now receive, 221 more students receive free and reduced lunch. We have 172 more multilingual students, and 105 more students are in need of special education services. So as you see, as a result, we're realizing revenue increases in all aid categories I just referenced. However, we're seeing a decrease in the guaranteed tax-based grant. As a reminder, this grant reduces the local share of the foundation program, so subsequently the local government will be expected to pick up that difference. Now, just as a quick reminder, as I mentioned in last year's budget cycle, FY26 is that transition year where we were moving out of the maintenance of effort model to the blueprint funding model. And as a result, we anticipate that Washington County government will have to contribute $8.3 million more than what was provided to the school system in FY25. You may recall that last year through this process, myself and Mr. Prue, we, in a very conservative way, estimated a minimum $5 million more, but this $8.3 million is the amount we believe will be seen in FY26. Again, this allocation is impacted by the growing wealth in the community and the reduction of the guaranteed tax-based grant. I also want to take this opportunity to thank you for the $1.1 million above maintenance of effort that the commissioners provided last year to support our students in schools. So thank you for the support, your support of this board and WCPS students. The next slide, in additional revenue, I'm proposing an increase in our interest income of $251. To date, we have already realized this budget value for FY25. This slide just provides a summary. You can see our total anticipated revenue for FY26 is slightly more than $17 million. And you can see the comparison in terms of the state and the local breakout in that slide. I think it's safe to say that there are still uncertainties between now and the time our board will approve its budget. You're likely aware of a bill that was introduced in the General Assembly at the request of the Governor's Office, which has both budget and policy implications. As it relates to the FY26 budget, it pauses the collaborative planning time allocation, which is a part of our foundation funding formula. We intend to continue to monitor this through the legislative process. I know the governor presented this bill last week with much opposition, so we'll continue to monitor that, provide feedback to both you and our Board of Education. However, I just want to reference that this, the impact of this legislation is pretty significant on the school system. The single change reduces revenue by $163 per student, which equates to nearly $6 million. Additionally, the governor has proposed a new pension shift to local government in the amount of $2.4 million for Washington County. So once again, more pressure on the local. This slide, we discussed this multiple times with our board in our work sessions. WCPS is required to provide specific funding in accordance with the blueprint formula. You can see here, these are the amounts above FY25 funding. You can see with technology initiatives, the blueprint requires nearly $1.5 million more. Pre-K kindergarten, nearly $500,000 more. Multilingual learners, nearly a little over 1 million more, and the Career Ladder National Board Certification salary incentives nearly or a little over 1.2 million more. So you see those blueprint required items alone tally up to a total of a little over $4.2 million. Now, this budget presentation is aligned with our strategic plan and its 4 key priority areas. It helped us to determine our allocation of resources for the FY26 budget. I just want to mention the initiatives detailed here all contribute to our priority to support culture, safety, and wellness in our schools. And I won't go through each of these items, but I just want to provide a couple of highlights. Also, I want to mention that some of these positions listed here will be discussed and likely or potentially adjusted by our Board of Education as we continue the budget process. I referenced our growth in students with special needs. I propose adding more special education paraprofessionals. We've already added 13 positions for this year. I'd like to carry those over to next year and hire 4 more positions. So it's a total of 17 new special education paraprofessionals. Once again, a reference to growth in special ed student services. Also like to point out that 15 safety and security assistants. This expansion will ensure each of our middle and high schools in the county has at least 1 safety and security assistant. These staff members support our school administrators and law enforcement partners by promoting a positive and safe school culture. You'll see we have a salary resource pool, which is $4.7 million. This would equate to at least a 2% increase for all WCPS staff members. This salary initiative is comparable to surrounding school districts in this budget cycle. Also want to reference my appreciation for our county administrator, Mrs. Gordon, and her willingness to brainstorm with Mr. Prue and I in terms of ways in which we can enhance this salary pool for consideration for our board. So thank you for that partnership and sharing your expertise. Also want to note that we're expecting a 10% increase in health insurance premiums in FY26. This is an added expense for both the school system and our employees. Together, these account for, as you can see here, $15 million. On this next slide, student success priority is part of our strategic plan, and the budget supports authentic and rigorous learning experiences for students so they have the knowledge and the skills and the abilities to succeed beyond their school career. The positions listed in this slide represent supports for student learning. The 9 Pre-K positions are required spending under the blueprint. Those are the first two bulleted items. As you know, WCPS has made significant gains in preparing our youngest learners for kindergarten, and I'm confident that we will see continued success there. And once again, I want to express my appreciation for the support, the funding support that this board has provided. We also have a total of 14 positions required for the blueprint spending for our multilingual students. I shared with you earlier the increase of over 172 more students in that area across our district. We've seen some of our striving students who could benefit from more individualized instruction, particularly in math. We believe 2 supplemental teachers will help make student gains in this academic area. I'm going to close out just referencing, I'm also proposing 3 contingency teachers. These positions help alleviate larger class sizes where we have unexpected enrollment changes. More often than not, it's in our rural one-round schools, so that provides a little bit of flexibility to mitigate those class sizes. Our schools have also benefited from having resident substitute teachers. They help provide consistency when there are staff vacancies and absences. This also lessens the burden of asking teachers to cover for other teachers. And finally, we're anticipating increased costs with instructional materials. This equates to $3.2 million. The access and opportunity priority areas address barriers to student learning and success. In our transportation department, the price of the yellow school bus continues to increase, and we're also committed to honoring the agreement to increase our payments to our bus contractors. In accordance with the blueprint, WCPS pays student testing registration fees for advanced placement and international baccalaureate students. We're pleased to see more and more students choosing to take the advanced placement exams. And these expenses in this area, you can see, total up to $383,000. And then in the community engagement area, this is a priority that focuses on enhancing connections with our community. What was proposed and adopted by our board initially for further discussion is principal and administrative assistant at Cascade Elementary from 11-month to 12-month positions. This change will improve the school support of students and community through the summer months. We're also seeing an increased spending in postage as the price of the stamp continues to rise. Together, you can see that's $64,000 there. I'll just reference the postage represents $40,000 of that $64,000. So it gives you an indicator of just the inflation on postage alone. WCPS is receiving additional funding. However, when you consider inflation, spending requirements of the blueprint, and foundation funding that was reduced by the governor's budget, we also have to make some cuts. I proposed to our board, and as I mentioned, our board adopted that draft budget just last week, cutting the positions that are listed here. Eliminating these positions will amount to a savings of $724,000. I also want to note that $465,000 of that savings is coming from positions from our Center of Education Services in an effort to minimize the impact for those that work in our schools. You'll note that 2 of these positions are currently vacant and will not be filled this fiscal year. So additional savings, and 1 position will become vacant when we have a staff member that will retire. You can see a couple other positions that are listed here. Being respectful of the time, I'll prepare to close with my final slide. Developing the budget can be a very tedious process for staff, and I just want to reference that in the fall, I work with our finance team to complete a line-by-line review with each department leader using the feedback from our principals to identify any opportunities to maximize our resources to better serve our students. Again, our team identifies potential savings, and it's our practice to consider turnover credit and current incumbent salaries in our budget calculations. We expect in this area to see savings of nearly $900,000 in FY26. This summarizes my draft budget proposal and what was adopted by our board. Once again, I'll just reference that with limited resources, we remain committed to maximizing our funding for the greatest benefit of our students. Again, we're only requesting the county fund the school system in the amount required by law. Once again, I want to extend my appreciation to this board, to our current board, and those that support us. At this time, President Zitmeyer, Vice President Gaspard, Mr. Prue, and Mr. Sisler and I remain available to answer any questions, and we welcome any comments of the board. Questions, comments?
I just have one comment on the required amount from the county. He's already referenced that it has increased from $110.2 million to $118.5 million. That is $8.3 million, and it is a 7.53% increase, primarily a result of the wealth of the county, and that wealth is looks at not only income tax returns, but it looks at the property tax assessments. So as the property tax assessments increased substantially here in Washington County, I believe we had the second highest increase in the state, that impacted or shifted state funding onto the local government.
Yeah, and just a curious question, Dr. Zavon, you probably already covered it, and I probably went over my head. But you just said 7.what%?
7.53.
Is that the total, what you're from last budget to this budget would be increase of about 7.5%? Is that from last budget, overall budget, do you know?
That is the figure in terms of the
That's just the
increase.
county portion.
Yes.
What's your overall
The
budget
total
increase?
budget increase is just under 5%. It's like 4.9.
That's what I was after, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Other comments, questions?
Yeah, just a couple here. On the assessments of the wealth increasing, just to make clear that the assessments do not translate into the actual dollar amount, because we cap the amount that our taxpayers have to pay on increased property assessments at 5%. So if you're paying $1,000 a year in property tax, it's limited to $50 increase, even if your property doubled in value.
We've also seen substantial increases in income tax, primarily as a result of those formerly work-from-home workers moving to Washington County, and the minimum wage increase in Maryland to $15 an hour.
But we have all the same costs that everyone has, inflation, et cetera. Just a couple of, one comment. Dr. Savine, thank you for all the work that you and Jeff and everyone put into this. I know it's a very difficult process because we go through a similar process here, and we get a lot of asks from our road people, our parks people, you know, doesn't matter, our IT folks, okay? Everyone needs more, and we definitely need to address the public safety area, you know, with full-time fire, continuing to bring in the EMS into the county, payroll, enhancing what the volunteer fire gets, and also increasing the sheriff's numbers of people that they have. So we all face these pressures, but I just want to, and thank you for everything you guys have done, Mike and Charlie back there. It's good. I just have a question here, not pertaining to the budget, but how many students are in the multiple language bucket?
Yes, I don't have the exact. I know it's.
I think we have it. We're digging it north of 1,200.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely over 1,000, but I don't have that exact
North
figure.
of 1,200 and a total of about 20,000 students?
A little over 22,000.
22,000, okay, got it. And then on the credentials of taking the test to get certified as national board. Have you seen any study or anything that substantiates that passing that board translates into improved performance in the classroom? Is there a study that shows that fact?
There are varying reports in terms of the impact of national board certification and the influence on improving student achievement.
Okay. And you can correlate it to a great teacher that gets certified is still a great teacher. A teacher that is underperforming, possibly, takes the board test. Is that person actually increasing their contributions to student outcomes? That's the question.
I can't say that we have data to support that.
Is the state going to look at trying to assess that? And the methodology for assessing that has to assess the quality of the teacher before they take this test and get certified, and compare it against a like apple to apple, orange to orange.
I can't speak for the state. I know as I speak with my colleagues in the 23 different districts, recognizing right now the commitment is to the National Board Certification process, and we recognize that that is a multiplier in terms of the budget, that we've expressed concerns in terms of the ability to sustain and to fund that. Certainly, we advocate for a mechanism that rewards our teachers for delivering deliverables, if you will, in terms of student achievement. While there is some research that values the importance of continued professional development in terms of what occurs with the National Board Certification, just because you earn that certification doesn't guarantee that you're a highly effective teacher.
It doesn't guarantee it, and experience in the federal government and the U.S. military is suspect on a correlation of improved performance, whether you're going through an intelligence analyst preparatory course. They might improve a little bit, but generally a person who's curious and, focused on analytics and, demonstrates a level, those that are performing at a high level tend to continue to perform at a high level. Those that were marginal continue to perform at marginal levels later on. There could be other factors that contribute to that. I'm just saying it'd be nice if there was a study, but okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Again, to keep us on time here, thank you very much. Appreciate your attendance here this morning, and I'm sure between phone calls, text messages, and emails, we can communicate quite freely here as we move forward. Thank you once again. We appreciate your support. Appreciate the comments.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is Washington County Free Library budget presentation.
I have a couple folders.
Michelle,
I got it.
Jenny has things to hand out. Oh, I'm sorry.
So much.
I'm sorry, Dawn.
Fine.
Well, she was over there.
Good morning.
Morning, Al.
Commissioners.
Please proceed.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Commissioners, Ms. Gordon, for giving us the time to share our 2025 State of the Library and Annual Budget Presentation. My name is Jenny Bacus, and I'm the Executive Director of the Washington County Free Library. And with me, I have Al Martin, a member of our board in an emeritus position. Our system is comprised of 8 libraries, 2 bookmobiles, 2 off-site smart locker systems. We serve the residents of Washington County and surrounding areas
and our mission to build a strong, interconnected, and diverse community by bringing people, information, and ideas together. Staff at all levels connect with residents all over the county every day. Their work makes an impact, and that impact is reflected in the numbers. This year, staff answered 42,360 questions, which is around 116 questions per day that residents knew they can entrust in our staff for assistance. Furthermore, the library visits increased by 10% in FY24 from FY23, and we're proud to say that 57% of our county residents are library card holders. Circulation of materials continues to increase, with print books still making up the majority of items checked out. Our library offers programming for all age groups. Over 30,000 people attended WCFL events this year, with most notable growth in adult programming, which surged from 12% to an impressive 31%. This is due in part to purposeful push from our programming librarians to innovate new, exciting, and relevant events. In FY24, programs of all ages were full of social connection and learning. Washington County is renowned for its rich cultural heritage and historical significance, and our branch libraries regularly create programs featuring local historians and authors. One such program was the very popular How to Talk Smithsburg, presented by the president of the Smithsburg Historical Society, where participants learned about ways of speaking in the region, interactively using the words and phrases collected by local teachers decades ago. We also continued our long-standing collaboration with the Maryland Symphony Orchestra, presenting musical story times where a captivating book is paired with a musical score to create an unforgettable experience for families. And new this year, Hagerstown Homesteaders, a very popular monthly gardening club that promotes self-sufficiency and is aimed at teaching how to grow, harvest, preserve, and cook food from scratch. It always has a waiting list, and we've added more classes to meet the demand. Other popular programs this year included our Summer Reading Club, which helps prevent summer learning loss for students with a balance of self-paced reading goals and enriching interactive programs that travel throughout our county. Teens stay engaged with programs like Teen Chef and Creative Corner, where new inspiring projects are selected and planned twice a month. In addition, we had a positive response to our story time around town, where the stories we share go beyond the walls of our library and into the community, as well as our story times for adults for all abilities, providing interactive and engaging experiences tailored to individuals with diverse learning needs. The library takes pride in offering accessible services to everyone. We consistently hear great feedback on our passport services. In FY24, our agents processed 363 passport applications, took 352 passport photos, and continue to be known for their attention to detail. And when it comes to reaching out to the community, the bookmobiles build community engagement by serving as a hub when the brick and mortar locations can be hard to reach. WCFL has helped serve patrons and continue its bookmobile legacy by adding another to its fleet. The new bookmobile serves most of our community centers, retirement and adult living communities, and senior centers, while the bookmobile bus continues to serve larger stops like schools, daycares, and summer camps.
And the new bookmobile is smaller than the old bus type one.
Right. The new truck has shelves on wheels so that materials can be brought into centers and lobbies for community members to browse without as much concern about their mobility of getting on and off the big bus. Students have access to premium digital services through our website, including live tutoring and programs like homeschool enrichment classes. And through funding by the City of Hagerstown and the Maryland State Library Agency, WCFL now provides a wheelchair-accessible telehealth pod for health-related appointments at the Fletcher branch. It serves as a valuable access point, promoting health equity and supporting community values.
And this is a new partnership we're doing with Meritus.
Yes. And of course, libraries throughout the county continue to be a meeting place for community members to host meetings, study, and collaborate. We expanded resources in FY24 as well. Use of our digital resources like our e-library apps, movie streaming service, and other premium digital materials continue to gain popularity. In fact, there was nearly a 30% rise in digital material circulation in FY24. We continue to expand our collections with book club kits, art kits, science kits, homeschool kits, and more. This is a nice time to remind everybody that WCFL brought the first internet connection to Washington County a long time ago and continues to provide internet services to the county and city governments, public schools, and 911 centers. Funded by a grant from the Washington County government through a partnership with the University of Maryland, Maryland's Department of Housing and Community Development, America's Hauling for Hope, Hagerstown Housing Authority, Western Maryland Consortium, WCFL proudly served as the primary distributor of no-cost Chromebooks to the Washington County households. Over 4,400, so that number's a little old, but 4,400 Chromebooks were distributed across every jurisdiction in Washington County, and events were hosted at every branch of the library system to promote digital equity, support online education, empower job seekers, and connect communities to essential services.
And a Chromebook, in case you're not aware, is basically a small tablet-type computer that gives internet access primarily.
Yes. This year, we partnered with a variety of local agencies, nonprofit businesses, and organizations. 24,400 Washington County public school students have RAIL, which is Raising Access to Improving Literacy, library accounts that they can use to check out materials or use library computers. In conjunction with the Cash Campaign of Maryland, WCFL began offering preliminary tax preparation intakes for residents of Maryland, West Virginia, or Pennsylvania, making less than $64,000 for the 2023 tax year. And these are just a few examples of our partnerships. We believe strong libraries and strong partners mean strong communities. So what did we do with what you gave us? The estimated value of service this year equates to over $16 million in retail value. For every $1 Washington County spent on library services, the community received approximately $4.75 worth of services. Looking ahead, plans are underway for a new Williamsport branch. We're looking forward to working with the county and the town of Williamsport to build this space to serve the community, to strengthen connections, and to provide the support that Williamsport deserves. And did you know that the average power drill is only used for 13 minutes of its lifetime? We're working through the process of creating a library of things, which allows us to help remove financial barriers, making it easier for everyone to try to use things that they might only need occasionally, as well as promote a culture of reuse, which benefits the environment and fosters mindful consumption. And just this past week, we installed another smart locker system at the South Point Shopping Center near Funkstown to make picking up materials even more convenient and accessible. We look forward to this being a successful addition to that community. Dr. Sovine spoke on this a little bit before, but the English as a second language community population in Washington County has grown significantly in the past decade. We're working towards providing bilingual story times to increase accessibility and relevance to diverse populations, helping multilingual families feel a deeper sense of belonging while supporting literacy and fluency. And of course, we always look forward to more opportunities to meet the community's information needs through our extensive catalog and digital resources. So what are we asking for? For FY25, we're asking for an additional $69,380. Many areas of our operation, including utilities and essential services, have seen major increases in cost since 2019. In fact, just since 2023, a total of $207,000 has been spent on essential repairs and replacement, including the HVAC system at our Fletcher Library, plumbing, and a heated sidewalk repair at Hagerstown, which helps us stay open in case of inclement weather, helps us melt the ice and keep things operational.
And it's hard to believe, we were just talking a few minutes ago, that the Fletcher now is over 12 years old. I remember when the grand opening happened, but it's now 12 years old.
So of note, WCFL will be taking the maximum allowable from our endowment fund to offset the budget. And due to changes in state law and borrower patterns, fine revenue is down 47% from last year. The state has now made it, has given us a mandate. We are not able to charge fines for minors or materials allowed for minors or intended for minors, which has really cut into our fine income.
So that is a state mandate, and all library systems are having to comply with that. Now, one thing as a board member, we did find out is we are still able to charge for lost or missing books. It's just the late fines that have been mandated. We can't charge for that, but we can charge and do charge for missing materials that don't ever come back.
And damaged
materials.
Preliminary numbers for our state aid have come in, and it is essentially a flat fund from last year. We're expecting around 3,000 more from last year. But I did want to end on a positive note. We are saving a significant amount of money from the HVAC replacement in Clear Spring. That is reflected within the budget, that we were spending a lot of money on fuel oil, and thank you to the county for replacing that system. It's made a huge difference in our bills.
We have a heat pump rather than just a fuel oil furnace or boiler.
Right. So I thank you so much for your time and your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just have one curious question, basically, for the allotted money you're getting and what you're asking for. Have you, what's your security situation? And I know you've said in the past and that it's a public library, it's open to everybody.
Absolutely.
I get that. So for families with young children or anybody feeling more safe in the library and surrounding the library, what is some of the security measures that you're taking for that?
Sure. So within the last couple of years, we've instituted every hour that we're open, we have security staff. We have security staff before we open and after we close. That's something that's new since I got here. We used to just have somebody in the afternoons. At this point, we have police officers coming in twice a day to our downtown location. We've installed fencing around our parking. We've increased lighting significantly. We're working through the process right now of getting more lights in our big parking lot in the back. We've updated our security cameras to a much more robust system using federal funds for that. The list kind of goes on and on. We've invested a tremendous amount of resources into that.
So you're aware and you're trying to make
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, thank
absolutely. We've invested a tremendous amount of resources because we hear what people are saying. You know, we understand the concerns. We're not, we're not ignorant of that. But I think what we say is that we are a space for all people. And when we open our doors, we don't ask people's necessarily their intentions at the door. You're allowed to be in our space regardless.
But you're expected to behave properly.
Correct. There is a code of conduct.
That is the key. No one wants any discrimination against any group, but it's behavior.
It's behavior
that could be disruptive or threatening. That is the line in the sand, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And the staff has been wonderful in proposing, and the board has approved policies that address these issues. And we give people chances, but there are certain people that we have banned from the library because of not having acceptable behavior and not following through on warnings about that behavior.
It's a delicate balance. I'm so sorry.
Again,
We're going past our.
It's time.
we got to keep things rolling here. Again,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon.
But let us know if you have any questions. The one big thing this year that we don't have in here is any increase in state funding. And unfortunately, the state, as one of their budget balancing things, did not give us an incremental increasing scale of funding from them. So we're expecting a very bare cupboard there this year, unfortunately. We're not expecting cuts, but we expect it will be challenging.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item is FY26 General Fund Budget, Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and Emergency Services. So, Sheriff, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're here to propose our budget for fiscal '26. It'll be about a 3.9% increase over fiscal '25. Some of the highlights that we have that the reason for that, we added 13 positions this fiscal year. So that's going to be some of our increases due to salaries. So we added 8 patrol deputies and 5 in detention center, which has helped immensely. We still have 5 vacancies in the patrol side and 2 vacancies in the detention center side. So we're slowly increasing them. We have 9 deputies that just graduated the academy in January, and they are on field training now. They'll be cut loose in June. That'll be a big help for us. And then we have 5 in the academy currently.
The 5 vacancies, are they from the new positions that we just approved
Yes.
in the current fiscal year?
That is correct, yes. And so some of the highlights for us, we handle about 90,000 plus calls a year. That averages out about 300 a day. Now, some of those are phone calls. You're not running to a call physically, but we still handle 90,000 calls, and that's increased over the last 10 years by almost 40%. So those additions of those positions were well needed and appreciated for the commissioners. We're number 6 in jail or population of the detention center statewide, behind Montgomery, Baltimore, Howard, Anne Arundel, and Prince George's County. So we're up there about 350 inmates that we take care of a day. That's average for the year. And another thing that's really kicked in for us and increased is our software budget due to the mandate of body-worn cameras. We had already had body-worn cameras here at the sheriff's office for at least the last 5 years, but we were under contract, and our contract ran out in December, so we extended it for 6 months, and then next year it'll be a pretty large increase. So that's some of the highlights that we had, and I have some of my staff here if we have any questions that run the administrative staff that run each division. So I'll take any questions.
Sheriff?
Yes.
You touched on something there that kind of bothers me a little bit. You know, when we're ranked right up there behind Anne Arundel County that has, what, 8, 9, 10 times this amount of population as Washington County, any thoughts of why we have so many?
Well, you can look at it 2 ways. We hold people accountable for their actions so that they are in the county jail awaiting trial, or they've been sentenced there. So maybe we're a little more conservative with our actions in the judicial system and the state's attorney's office. That's one way to look at it, a positive side of it. But we do rank up there, and I'll ask Major Rowe to come up if you have any. I'm going to put him on the spot. He didn't want to come up here. I know that. But, that's one way I look at it, that we do hold them accountable. Our judges are conservative here in this county, and, the sentences that they receive are served here at the county jail. So if you have anything to add to that, Major?
Just some of the counties that are similar in size to us that have a far less incarcerated population, they have pretrial services that are being utilized far more than what we here in Washington County have. So Carroll County, for example, the last time I spoke with them about that, they had around 100 on their pretrial program, which these folks are out in the community, where we've not had a lot of support for something like that between the judicial and the state's attorney's office, because basically everyone is either held without bond or released on their own recognizance, and more often than not, they're held without bond. And so that has driven our population, that type of thing.
And that participation would take a legislative change in Annapolis.
And also, another factor in that is that when they did the Justice Reinvestment Act and they changed some of the laws and the sentencing guidelines, they took them away from what would normally used to be a Division of Correction sentence, and now it's more of a local jail. And so we see a lot of 18-month sentences, which is the maximum that by law county jail can have. We tend to see a lot of those, and that just keeps that population staying right there.
You mentioned 350 approximately incarcerated right now.
That is correct.
What is I don't want to use the word comfortable because 350 is probably not comfortable, but what is your maximum that you can that would be it? We draw the line somewhere.
So if everything in terms of classification, the right amount of inmates that meet a particular classification, male, female, where you can house them, if we had enough lower bunk, lower tiers, our maximum bed capacity is 495.
Okay.
I hope we never get that.
It's 350
350 is manageable, but part of the problem is when folks come in and the medical puts them on detox protocols, they are mandated for like 2 weeks to be a lower bunk, lower tier. Well, there's only so many lower bunk beds in the facility. Gotcha. So that makes it a challenge for our shift commanders to figure out where to house people once they come in and leave the booking area. But yeah, 350 is manageable. When we get close to the 400 range, which we were here last summer, it gets real tough.
Yeah, I remember years past, you were always close to 400 many years ago.
Do you foresee that the hiring blitz that HPD is putting on, which is good, do you foresee that lessening your need because your deputies aren't responding as often to Hagerstown?
I don't think it'll lessen our need because those calls for service that we have are county calls. That's 90,000 county calls.
That doesn't count city calls?
Well, it counts if we responded, but mostly they're county calls that we're responding to. So it's just, I think Hagerstown City had such a reduced work. It's just it's gonna be able to help us be more proactive than reactive to the two things that are happening.
Okay.
Emergency services?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Dave Hayes, Director of Emergency Services.
They're together.
Okay, never mind.
Morning, David Hayes, Director of Emergency Services. I have with me.
Rick Hemphill, Washington County Fire and Rescue.
So I'm going to handle the division's overall budget, and then when we get to our volunteer services budget, I'm going to ask Rick to speak to some of the issues in there. So the division manages 6 budgets: the Air Unit, Special Operations, EMS Operations, Fire Operations, Public Safety Training Center, and then Volunteer Services. I'm just going to try to get through some of the highlights of each of those so we don't get into the minutia. The bulk of our increase is mostly centered around controllable assets and personnel requests. So that's where you're going to hear me spend most of my time. But if we're going through our budget, 11,420, which is the Air Unit, FY25 requested was $95,890. The FY26 requested budget is $66,840. The bulk of that reduction of $29,000 plus is because we don't have any controllable asset request in that budget for this year. Our next budget is our Special Operations Department number 11,430. FY26 requested budget for that is $256,670. In comparison, FY25 was $184,320, or a 39.25% increase. For dollars and cents, it's a plus $72,000 increase in the budget. And the bulk of that is over $23,000 in specialized training, which is to deal with confined space, technical rescues. A lot of the new commercial buildings are the tilt slab construction type. We're not equipped and trained to handle those types of emergencies, so a lot of that is centered around that. There's also a $17,000 request for improvements to the building security, which is a mechanized gate system so that the premises are gated, and then $49,000 in controllable assets. One of our 2 largest budget is 11,520, which is EMS. FY25, that budget was $6.2 million. FY26 is requested at $7,969,000. That represents $450,000 of controllable assets and $233,370 in personnel requests, or a 28.95% increase. The personnel requests in that budget are centered around a replacement for our administrative assistant who retired June of 2024, and through its rehire was designated to the 911, to the Emergency Communications Center exclusively. So we're without an administrative assistant that assists my office in preparation of paperwork documents. We don't have anybody that regularly answers the door, runs the LA Parkway's calendar. So it also requests a full-time scheduler. We're at 92 full-time staff with about 23 part-time staff. We're staffing 7 fire stations with some degree of full-time staffing and 6 of the other 8 stations are staffed with some degree of part-time staffing. So we're in desperate need of that. And then we have 2 position requests that upgrades. One is the current quality assurance officer from the position of quality assurance officer to the position of assistant director clinician services, and then our current programs manager to office manager. Fire operations is our biggest budget outside of volunteer services, 11,525. The FY25 budget was $6,988,080. The FY26 request is $10,699,030. Of that, $3,124,860 is personnel request and then wage increases relative to the current CBA for the IAFF. But by far the bulk of that is the position request, and we have $457,000 in controllable asset request. That represents a 53.10% increase, or a $3.7 million total increase. The position requests, we're requesting 16 full-time firefighter positions. We'd like to apply for a SAFER grant to work through that, and we're also requesting 2 shift supervisors. If you remember, in previous budgets, we've asked for 4, which will give us 24-hour supervision and somebody that could be transient to move around the county. The supervision that we have right now is assigned to fire trucks and is not able to move from station to station readily without redeploying a specialized asset from where its targeted point is. And again, those requests are mostly around the 16 firefighters and the 2 shift supervisors. The next budget we've got is 11,535, which is a public safety training center. FY26 budget request is $1,422,090. FY25's budget was $1.2 million. That's an 18.47% increase, or a $221,000 increase overall. $132,000 of that request is in controllable assets, and by far the biggest number there is our sim mannequin that is at end of life, and the technology that is not able to interface with it in most of the new software programs. That's over $100,000 itself. We do have a position reclass that we're asking for there. Currently, the senior office associate, when we originally hired that, was mostly going to handle the door functions, but at this point now coordinates most of the events, scheduling, the room calendaring, and gets the center ready for high-profile events. And then we have the paramedic program, if you're familiar, that the Public Safety Program Training Center handles, and through our most recent COA accreditation site survey and visit, we actually got a citation because we do not have a separate program medical director. That right now we handle that with the same medical director we do for the operational program, and they find that to be a conflict and not recommended moving forward. So that's one of the citations that we got on our recent audit. And then our largest budget is our volunteer services budget. I'm going to capture a couple highlights, and I'm going to turn it over to Rick Hemphill from the association. 93,130 volunteer services. Our FY26 budget ask is $12,415,540. Our FY25 budget approved was $11,867,730. That represents a 4.62% increase, or a $547,000 increase overall. We are asking inside of that budget request to increase the volunteer company fundraising from its current 35% match with a $60,000 cap to 40% match with a $70,000 cap. And then we've applied a 3.5% increase to their general allocations and the EMS staffing subsidies. The county in this budget continues to recommend paying 100% of utilities, EMS health insurance for those companies that are not county staffed, fuel maintenance of primary response vehicles. And then inside of that request is controllable assets totaling about $80,000, and that's a new fire police pickup and Surface Pros traffic signs and microwaves for the rehab unit. Going back to the personnel request in 11,525, which is fire ops, we're working to try to address the 7 letters that we have from the volunteer fire departments asking for full-time firefighter help. So that is why you see that number at 16, at least at this juncture. So I'll turn it over to Rick for any ending comments there, and then I'll close this out.
Yeah, well, from the association standpoint, I do want to mention that we did distribute to the various volunteer companies $1,077,399.60 in tip jar revenues that came in through us to the various companies. In our budget request, we also asked for, which you alluded to, but we also asked for additional funding for our recruitment and retention budget to do more, to do $20,000 to do additional advertising, to try and get more volunteers. And we also indicated from our the stipend program, it's working very well, and we asked for a slight increase in that. Actually, the prior year looked lower, but last year we paid out no, that's the wrong one, sorry. We paid out $200,000 is going to go out this year for incentives, $210 for pay-per-call, and $65 for the volunteer stipend, which is a standby, which keeps people in. The stipend program, so this last quarter paid some incentive to 448 volunteers, which is the highest so far, about $98,000 in pay-per-call, and the rest would be the various incentives, the gas cards, et cetera. So 448 is the largest number of incentives to go out so far, and the program's working well. We also asked for some replacement equipment for the 255 unit, which goes out on the calls to do the to provide rehab ability, and so there's some things eventually wearing out, microwaves, freezer, and we also need pagers for Station 25 individuals as well. And we also asked for some additional items for the fire police for additional safety, the handheld stop signs, emergency traffic signs, et cetera, and an additional fire police vehicle if available.
And just to kind of close out and give you kind of real quick 30,000-foot snapshot, our FY26 requested budget in totality is $32,828,810 compared to an FY25 approved budget of $26,516,340 for a requested change of $6,312,470, or 23.81%. But I want to give you the big categories. 1.6 million of that is capital outlay. 3.1 million is for the 16 firefighters, 2 shift supervisors. There remains 1 million in our EMS budget for consideration of additional EMS companies to transition to the county. And then there's 550,000 in the volunteer services budget that's requested. So that represents 6,250,000 of the 6,312,000. Those 4 items represent that. The bulk of it is staff and wages.
So you said that's about a 26% increase from the previous budget?
23.81.
23.81.
And that's in the requested version?
Yes, that's in the requested.
And
have you guys, Rick, have you explored, just a curious question, have we explored any other potential incentives to volunteers to?
Well, we're always looking for something that's documentable and, you know.
There's limits to that, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I mean, and we want to make it so that it's a valid incentive, and that it encourages participation, et cetera. There probably are a few more options, but mostly we want to make sure that what we're paying out for is documentable. Right. So we use the LoSTAP input to do that by and large, and the pay-per-call stuff comes out of ESO, which is the software for that. But for instance, last year, the LoSAP coordinators processed 46,000 individual pieces of paper to enter that thing, and the volunteers had 137,072 hours of duties performed, 111,000 hours of standby, 37,000 responses to calls. They had 11,500 hours of training. attended 11,000 meetings. I mean, there's a lot of activity rolled up in that, but certainly if an option comes up for an additional incentive, we'd be happy to provide it. We're doing, but I think it's making a difference, Dave, when you say that it is, and it seems to be working, and we've got a process in place. But certainly always open to suggestion if somebody has another idea. We're always looking for something.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Motion to take a 10-minute recess?
Motion.
Take 10 minutes recess.
Don't need a motion.
Okay. See you in 10 minutes. keep us on schedule here. Need to go to our next agenda item, which is FY 2026 General Fund Budget requested version. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Kelsey Mace, Chief Financial Officer.
Kim Medlin, Director of Budget and Finance.
And today we just wanted to give you a brief overview of the general fund requested budget in total. Requested revenues totaled $326.8 million, which is a $26.2 million or 8.7% increase over the FY25 approved budget. Included in your agenda packet is a summary of the requested revenues and the change from the FY25 approved budget by line item. Requested expenditures totaled $330.6 million, which is a $30 million or 10% increase over the FY25 approved budget. The shortfall in the requested budget is $3.8 million. A summary of the requested expenditures by department is also included in your agenda packet. Next week, we will be presenting in more detail the balanced proposed general fund budget for FY26. So at this time, I'll open it up for any questions or comments.
What was the increase again?
For revenues, 8.7% or $26 million. Expenses were $30 million or 10%.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is FY25 CIP budget adjustment.
Good morning again, Kelsey Mace, Chief Financial Officer. A budget adjustment is being requested to reassign 2025 bonds budgeted in projects that are either no longer needed in 25 to other eligible projects. Staff is requesting a transfer of 25 bond funds budgeted for the Ag Center Indoor Multipurpose Building of $3,655,000 and the Stormwater Management and Watershed Services Office Building of $300,000 to the Patrol Services Relocation Project. Staff is also requesting to transfer bond funds budgeted for the 40 West Landfill Pretreatment Facility of $500,000 to the 40 West Landfill Cell 5 Construction Project. The 2025 bond sale is scheduled for late May.
Questions, comments? Early. Okay, thank you.
I need a vote for this, please.
Okay. Motion. Motion and second. Ready to vote? All in favor? Aye. 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is FY26 Rural Legacy Program Grant Approval to submit application and accept awarded funding. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Boggs, Planning and Zoning. Today I bring to you our yearly application for Rural Legacy funding. Each year, Department of Natural Resources gives each county the option to the ability to apply for a Rural Legacy grant through DNR. The Rural Legacy Program is one of our most prolific programs in the county. We've got over 9,200 acres of permanently preserved land in the Rural Legacy Program. It basically works on a grant cycle. We apply in February. The grants are usually awarded in November or December through a grant agreement with the county. This year's application is similar to the rest. You know, we're looking to make an application for $7,726,000. As you all know how grant processes work, we probably won't see that much, but hopefully we'll see a significant amount, depending on, of course, the state of the fiscal affairs in the state of Maryland. Usually, from year to year, we're usually in the top 2 or 3 of grant recipients in the state. So we have a pretty good track record with DNR and our Rural Legacy Program. We've went over the application with grant management, and they're on board. And the one thing, fiscal impact, we assume about $320 a year for monitoring of these easements. Every easement we procure through a DNR easement program has to be monitored on every 3 years after the date of settlement. So there's that recurring cost. We do have a dedicated fund for compliance for that as well. Outside of that, we are, just one thing to add is we're about to eclipse 42,000 acres of permanently preserved land in the county. So this grant, of course, will help increase our preserved land in Washington County. Any questions?
And that forever?
That's correct, yeah. So they are the perpetual easements, so yes.
That's the land preservation program?
Yep,
This is the
forever or until the fall of Rome.
Okay, anything else?
A motion to approve the submission.
Got a motion, a second, ready to vote, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Next item is intergovernmental cooperative purchase, NTG 25-0178, new 2024 Chevrolet Tahoe Special Service Vehicle.
Good morning, Brandy Kentner, Purchasing Director. Dave Hayes is going to come back in this morning. The recommendation I have for you this morning is the intergovernmental cooperative purchase, INTG 25-0178, for one new 2024 Chevy Tahoe Special Service Vehicle. Move to award by resolution for the Department of Emergency Service to purchase one new 2024 Chevy Tahoe from Criswell Chevrolet out of Gaithersburg, Maryland, for the price of $55,282. We're also asking permission to utilize another jurisdiction's contract that was awarded by Baltimore County to Criswell Chevrolet. The vehicle will replace a 2011 Chevy Tahoe with 176,000 miles, formerly used for the ALS chase car, most recently for the administrative pool car at Elliott Parkway. Upon a replacement of the 2011 Tahoe, the vehicle will be stripped of all the lighting, and at that point, it will be advertised on the GovDeals site. The Code of Public Local Law of Washington County provides that the Board of County Commissioners may procure goods and services through a contract entered into by another government entity, as long as we abide by the same terms, conditions, and pricing of that contract, and we are doing so. The county will benefit with the direct cost savings of this purchase because of the economies of scale. The contract has leveraged, and there is funding available in this department's capital budget.
Motion?
Second.
Motion second on the floor, for all in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Thank you, Kelsey. Or Brandy, I'm sorry. Next item is bid award, PUR 1724, roll-up door replacement at Conococheague Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Brandy Kentner, Purchasing Director.
Joe Moss, Deputy Director of Engineering for Water Quality.
The last recommendation after this morning is the bid award, PUR 1724, roll-up door replacement for Conococheague Wastewater Treatment Plant. Move to award the bid for the roll-up door at the Conococheague Wastewater Treatment Plant to the responsible bidder, Palmer Construction of McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania, who submitted the lowest bid of $76,000. The county accepted bids on February 5th, 2025. The invitation of bid was listed on the State of Maryland's website, the county's website, the newspaper, and the new online bidding site for the purchasing department, as well as the county. 21 companies downloaded the document, and we did receive 4 bids. The specifications require 3 roll-up doors to be purchased and installed at the Washington County Department of Water Quality in Williamsport. 2 will be installed at the Headworks Building and 1 at the Solids Building. The bidder shall be responsible for taking measurements to ensure the new doors are installed appropriately in the existing wall openings. The new roll-up doors will be installed by the bidder, and the old ones will be removed by the bidder. Funding is available in the department's the capital budget for this department.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Thank you. Next item, Washington County Detention Center, the Moore Grant.
Carson Arens, Senior Grant Manager, Department of Grant Management.
Good morning, Megan Willis, Director of the Sheriff's Office Day Reporting Center.
We would request that you approve the application for the receiving of funds not to exceed $119,000 from the State of Maryland Opioid Overdose Response. This grant will fund reentry workshops along with contracting with Potomac Community Services to provide case management, staff the workshops, as well as additional expenses associated with case management.
Questions, comments, remarks? Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor by saying aye. Opposed? Same sign. 4-0. Thank you. Appreciate it.
One more, yes.
Okay, yes. Next item is Washington County Detention Center, more grant.
Karsten Arens, Senior Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
Megan Willis, Director of the Sheriff's Office State Reporting Center.
We would request once again that you approve the applying for and receiving funds not to exceed $380,714 from the Maryland Opioid Overdose Response. This grant will fund the Washington County Sheriff's Office Detention Center Jail-Based Medication-Assisted Treatment Program. Funding provided within this project will be used for medications, crushed pill pouches, rapid drug testing devices, and contractual medical staff required to oversee administration of medications.
Motion?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor by saying aye. Opposed? Same sign. 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to get you guys a little coffee or something. Get you. Next item is park rules, revisions, and special event policy.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jamie Dick, Deputy Director of Public Works, Parks and Recreation.
Danny Hickson, Deputy Director of Public Works, Buildings, Grounds, Facilities.
Pam Boyd, Park Supervisor.
Good morning, Commissioners. The growing popularity and increased usage of our parks have highlighted need to revise existing rules and introduce a special event policy for park usage. With parks experiencing increased visitor volume and event requests rising, it is essential to establish clear guidelines to manage the events effectively. This policy will help address key concerns such as public safety, staffing, traffic control, trash removal, and overall park maintenance. To ensure only committed inquiries are submitted, we propose implementing a $50 application fee, which would be credited towards the rental event fee. This fee is designed to reduce the administrative burden of reviewing and processing applications that are not sincere. By updating the park rules and implementing the special event policy, we ensure a balanced approach that supports the community needs while preserving the park environment and the functionality for all users in the park.
Okay, any questions?
Concurrence with Parks and Rec.
Concurrences of Parks and Rec and the Director of Public Works.
Commissioner Harvey?
Quick question on your proposed changes.
Okay.
A special event permit is required, say, if the Boy Scouts have an event and they do any fundraising there?
Yeah, what the event application would be is that it would go towards the cost of, say if they want to use the pavilion, they would have to rent the pavilion. And that $50 application fee would go towards the original cost, which I believe it's $75 for a pavilion. So it wouldn't be an extra cost. It would just go towards the cost.
What I'm curious about just, okay, does they need a certificate of insurance if they do any fundraising?
Yes, that's correct. If it was like an event, yes. If they were advertising it and there was people coming in for the event.
So if the Boy Scouts were selling raffle tickets for bakery goods, they would need to get a certificate of insurance for that. How do you get a certificate of insurance for a Boy Scout fundraising event that is not the main event? You know, it's just.
There's special event insurance. They could go through an insurance company, and normally that's what most of them do. A lot, like the Boy Scouts, usually they'll go to their district office and they'll go under their umbrella.
Certificate of insurance cost?
I'm not sure. I've never purchased one.
I'm uncomfortable with section 5 on that.
Okay.
That addresses those things, but I don't have a problem with the rest of it.
Okay.
I just would like more clarity.
And we can provide that.
Motion to support as presented.
Second? Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to support as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you.
All right, then, am I
Okay,
next?
I'm sorry, Jamie. Next item is naming of 2 softball fields at Kemps Mill Park in honor of Steve Danfeld and Dwayne Bolas.
Good morning, Commissioners. Requesting the Board of County Commissioners approval to name 2 softball fields in honor of Steve Danfeld and Dwayne Bolas, 2 outstanding individuals whose dedication to the park community has made a lasting impact. Steve was instrumental in starting the girls' fast pitch softball program and has volunteered at the park for 33 years, now witnessing the children of those he once coached playing on the fields. Dwayne volunteered for 22 years, also made a significant contribution to the sport and the community. Their unwavering commitment to the park, the game of girls softball, and the youth has left a lasting, enduring legacy. Naming the fields after them would be fitting tribute to ensuring that their contribution continue to inspire future generations and players and volunteers for the park as well. And then for your information, we have attached of what the Fast Pitch League was proposing for on the field. And the concurrences, the Parks and Rec Advisory Board approved this as well.
Any comments?
I strongly support that motion.
Okay, motion and a second for total support. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good move.
Thank you, Mr. Danfeld.
Next item is 2025 Emergency Management BRIC Grant Approval to submit grant application and accept awarded funding.
Good morning.
morning.
Richard Lesh, Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
Good morning, Alan Matheny, Director of Emergency Management and Communications.
We're here today to request a motion to approve the submission of the fiscal year 25 Emergency Management Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities, or BRIC Grant, to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, in the total amount of $1,275,960, and accept award the funding as awarded. The purpose of the BRIC program is to provide federal funds to states to assist state, local, tribal, and territorial emergency management agencies as they work to reduce their hazard risk. FEMA is expected to award the county $956,767.50, which will fund the purchase and installation of backup generators for 4 fire stations in Washington County. The performance period for this federal grant is 36 months from the date of the award. There is a 25% match required for this grant, which is $318,922.50. The 25% match will be paid by each of the fire companies receiving the backup generators.
Comments, questions?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Last item is agricultural faces of farming presentation.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kelsey Cadle, Agricultural Business Specialist with the Department of Business and Economic Development. The Department of Business and Economic Development has hosted the 6th Annual Groundhog Day Celebration, an event designed to support and highlight our local farms, showcasing them as a source of fresh local products, even during the cooler winter months, and yes, even if the groundhog predicts 6 more weeks of winter. This year, the event was redesigned to be more family-friendly, recognizing the importance of engaging our younger generations and teaching them about where their food comes from. Nearly 280 people attended the event this year, with about 27 of those being children. The event featured 22 vendors offering a range of products from cheese and ice cream to honey and flowers. One of our new vendors, Whispering Flower Farm, shared her appreciation, saying, "It was a delight to meet and network with other farmers in the county, and also talked with the customers who stopped by the table. We would like to convey sincere thanks to you, the team, the county, and the sponsors for hosting this event." Another vendor was Misty Meadow Farm Creamery, who served ice cream at the event, and they also shared how great of a time that they had at the event. And they will also be our second Faces of Farming video showcasing their cow to cone creamery operation. PR, can you play the videos, please?
I am Andrew Herbst. We are at Misty Meadow Farm Creamery, also shortened to Misty Meadows as our customers like to call it. The farm has been in the family since 1920. The creamery has been open for the past 12 years, since 2012. I am one of 4 children. 2 of us kids decided we would like to stay on the family farm, and at that point my grandfather was still alive and taking salary from the farm. So we decided that if another 2 families wanted to be on the farm, we were going to have to find a different venue of income for the farm. We are primarily an ice cream shop, and when I say that, we are a cow to cone ice cream shop. So we milk the cows back at the dairy, we bring that raw product out here, and we turn it into our own base mix, and then from that base mix we have 80 different flavors, and we're always coming up with new ones. And we also sell our farm-raised beef, pork, and eggs, along with some other novelty items that kind of fluctuate. We try to stick to locally sourced stuff, so but we have some chips that come from a local place. We also sell sandwiches, soups. We are open year-round, so we try to diversify enough that it makes sense for an ice cream shop to stay open. The support of the community and just everyone wanting stuff like this to happen in Washington County has been a blessing, and people wanted to come out and support local, and we have so many new customers and just loyal customers now that we've made friendships with, that they just want to support local, and they're like, we had no idea you're here. So my vision, my passion to grow this place to a little more than a mom and pop shop in the near future, so we'll see where the future holds.
My name's Kent Reed, owner of Castle Hill Winery in Hagerstown, Maryland, along with my wife Sheila. We've been in business 9 months here in Washington County. We opened in May 17th. We make 10 different kinds of wines right now. We'll have 15 in the spring. We cater to the sweet wine drinker. We also cater to the dry wine drinker. We buy Maryland grapes. We buy Maryland fruit. So we're all about giving to the farmer. I think there's a lot of business growth in Washington County. I think there's a lot of opportunity here to expand.
My name is Emily Stamper. I live in Washington County, and I think this is a great opportunity just to kind of showcase Washington County Ag. It brings together a lot of businesses to one central event and allows the general public to kind of interact with them. We see a lot of farmers markets in the summer, spring, and fall, but not really during the winter, so I think it's a great opportunity to get people together during the winter months and kind of showcase ag year-round.
So I'm Joanne Smith, and I am part of F&D Apiaries, which stands for Fred and Daniel. It's my husband and my son. They are 3rd and 4th generation beekeepers. Beekeeping has been in our family for over 100 years. We've got about 600 hives. We do a lot of pollination. We do honey products. We do beeswax products from the hives, and we make use of everything in there. Mittelschmidt buys honey from us and puts it in their whiskey. We have a couple different places that purchase honey from us and do that. Bakeries, different things of that nature too. I think it's good that we hold events like this so that people can see small businesses, especially because the small business needs to be promoted, needs to be helped. And so by doing this, you can come out, you can talk to people, you get to know people. Especially with beekeeping, it's kind of a dying art, and if the bees disappear, we're going to disappear because it's vital to the world system.
My name is Sam Wright. Together with my family, we own Tri-State Printing, and that's our livelihood throughout the week. But on the weekends, we also live on a small farm. And so I really appreciate the effort that goes into producing products, and I really recognize too the challenge in trying to get those products to market. And there's a lot of regulations and things that make that a little bit difficult in some cases, so I think the opportunity to meet people and find out what their product is an excellent way to get to see what other products are available out there.
So I'm Julie Steiner from Evensong Farm.
in Sharpsburg, Maryland, and I make Urbanade beverages, which is a herbal lemonade. I grow all my herbs on the farm. A direct connection to the land is really important to me with everything we do in our business. I think it's important for the agriculture community of Washington County because an event like this helps bring all of these different vendors together and help the public really know what's available in their community and also the diversity of products that are coming from their neighbors.
Very good. Thanks, Kelsey. Okay. I'm looking for a motion to go into closed session for the following reasons: to discuss confidential personnel matters, to consider a matter of concerns proposal for a business or industrial organization, to consider marketing of public securities, and to consult with counsel.
Motion to go in closed session.
Okay. All in favor by saying aye? We're in closed session, and we want to take a five, yeah.